welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Sam. If you are not new, as always, thank you so much for coming back. I appreciate you. On this channel, I post all things anti-MLM, anti-scam, and anti-diet culture. So if that is your thing, make sure you're subscribed and definitely make sure you hit the bell because this month, which is January, I am posting 3 times a week. So you want to make sure that you don't miss any of those videos. They're going to be amazing. All right, so today we are talking about BetterHelp. So BetterHelp is not an MLM, but I definitely believe, in my opinion, it is a scam. You may have heard of BetterHelp through any podcasts that you listen to, or there are some YouTubers out there that take sponsorships from them as well. You will never see me promote them here on my channel or on my podcast. That is just no. If you ever see me promoting BetterHelp, just discontinue following me because something went wrong. So over the past few years, some things have been coming out about BetterHelp and how they are not practicing the best practices. So we're going to dive into that today. But first, I want to give you a little bit of an idea or background of what BetterHelp is. If you have never heard of them before, let's get into that. So BetterHelp is an app that offers virtual therapy. Now, in this day and age, I definitely think that something like this would be beneficial if it was being run in an ethical way to actually help people, because the way that it is happening right now is not helping people at all. But anyway, I digress. So on their website, it says that their mission is making professional therapy accessible, affordable, and convenient. So anyone who struggles with life's changes can get help anytime and anywhere. I definitely believe that there are many insurances or many benefits that do not cover mental health the way that it should be. Luckily, I have mental health coverage, so I know from experience that there are health plans out there that do offer some kind of mental health coverage. I know that it is being worked on, so they say, and I hope that it is more accessible for people to get trusted therapy from people who are qualified to give that therapy to them. With that said, allegedly, they do hire people that are not licensed therapists, or they will encourage these therapists to see patients outside of the state that they're licensed in, and that's actually illegal for the therapist to do. So there was one TikTok that I watched from a therapist side, and she actually started with BetterHelp and then immediately left because they wanted her to see patients outside of the state of her licensure, and she was not comfortable with doing that because she knew it was against the law. I really want to get into the things that are going on with them and the really shady practices that are happening. In an article earlier in January, so this was from January 9th, I'll link this whole article below, so if you want to go and see it for yourself, you can. The headline is BetterHelp rakes in $1 billion in 2022 as Teladoc plans to integrate behavioral health into its chronic care strategy. BetterHelp is a subsidiary of Teladoc. Okay, so this article interviewed Jason Gorovic, who is the Teladoc CEO, and he states that last year, BetterHelp had more than 50 million interactions between patients and therapists, with more than 25,000 therapists on its platform. Then he also goes on to say, the way we approach this business is in a way that we will drive sustainable revenue growth and attractive margins. He says we do so taking advantage of our scale, our experience, and importantly, with our high quality standards. Now, you're going to see in the videos that I will show you that their standards don't seem very high quality. Also, something that stands out to me is the fact that they are more focused on their sustainable revenue growth with attractive margins than they are the complaints or the therapy that they are not giving to these people who need it. All right, now before we look at the videos, I want to show you this article that came up. This is an article from December of 2022, and it states that I'm laughing because it's just so hard to believe. It's not funny at all. But the fact that somebody said this to a patient blows my mind. I'll link this article below as well. But the title of the article is Man Says BetterHelp Referred Him to Conversion Therapy Supporter. He says he was told that going straight was the best way to reconnect with his conservative Christian family. Come again? What? So it says a gay man in Tennessee said a therapist for one of the nation's largest digital mental health companies, BetterHelp, recommended conversion therapy to help cure his depression and isolation from his family. Caleb Hill told the Wall Street Journal he had been kicked out of his home after telling his conservative Christian family that he was gay. As a practicing Christian, Hill had been taught same-sex sexual relations were a grave sin, and he struggled to recognize his faith with his sexual identity. Over time, Hill said he became depressed and felt alone. He had heard advertisements on various podcasts for BetterHelp, which offered faith-based and LGBTQ affirming counseling, and he decided to try out the services. Hill, then 22, said he requested an LGBTQ plus therapist, but instead was given a Christian therapist who did not specialize in LGBTQ plus issues. Hill said he told the therapist, Jeffrey Lambert, he wanted to improve his relationship with his family rather than providing the type of supportive counseling he sought and needed, in my opinion. Hill said Lambert recommended what he considered a form of conversion therapy. He said, either you sacrifice your family or you sacrifice being gay, Hill told the Wall Street Journal. I needed someone to tell me I was gay and that was okay. I got the exact opposite. Hill said Lambert specifically asked if Hill had engaged in sexual acts with a man and said the therapist seemed pleased when he replied he had never been physically intimate with a man. He said, good, Hill continued. He said if I did want to go back to my family, I should think hard about being physical with a man, because it would be a lot harder after that. BetterHelp does not actually provide treatment using in-house staff, but instead refers patients to independently contracted therapists around the country who are paid an hourly rate for their services. These therapists then conduct counseling sessions with patients via video or audio conferencing. They also offer text services too. The company has come under fire recently for its alleged poor and unprofessional services. Dozens of former patients posted their experiences on TikTok using the hashtag BetterHelp Therapy is a scam, with over 2 million viewers to date. And we're going to look at some of those today. So I wanted to start with that story to give you an idea of where we're going. Again, if you want to see any of these articles or resources that I'm giving you, I will be linking them below. Let's get into these TikTok stories. I have both client stories and I have therapist stories. So buckle up.
How many years do you think it's going to be before we see a true crime documentary about BetterHelp?
I am so glad that we are outing BetterHelp. You would not believe the experience I had with them. 2019, when I was experiencing the worst of my eating disorder, I had not opened up to a soul about it. I decided for the first time to try and advocate for myself. I downloaded BetterHelp. I got set up with this woman in America, and they said that she was like an eating disorder specialist, and I thought, oh great, okay, someone who'll actually get it. I started explaining to her like my symptoms, my thoughts, and how awful my life was because of it. She said something to me like, oh, is your BMI really that low that you're experiencing all these things? And I thought, right, that's not relevant. I didn't even acknowledge that. But then I did tell her how much weight I had lost. I didn't tell her where my weight was at. It could have been anywhere on the BMI scale, but from what she had said earlier, she was assuming that it was like super low. Anyway, what she said to me there was, well, good for you. Congratulations on all that weight loss. I deleted the chat, deleted the app, and never advocated for myself again.
So the fact that she basically has given up on therapy is what she's saying in this TikTok. Going to therapy is hard. I myself struggle with depression, and actually getting the help and speaking up for yourself is not easy. It takes a long time. So for her to now not even want to approach therapy or give it another try, it's really scary to see that they're doing this to people. Not to mention the fact that her therapist, who was supposed to specialize in eating disorders, told her good job when she mentioned she lost weight. I'm no therapist, but I do know that's not what you want to say to somebody who lost weight and has an eating disorder. Please don't do that.
No, because why did I literally tell this therapist that I was being emotionally abused and not emotionally supported at all from my parents, and the only support that I had was financial support? And he told me that due to my parents' financial support, that I was greedy and selfish and I was ungrateful, and to just sit down, up and take it, and how his own son was greedy and selfish and ungrateful, and this whole generation is, and started ranting during our whole session. Like, why was I during this time, like a minor, literally the therapist?
Okay, so when I was researching all of this, this was a lot of what I heard. They were basically criticizing the patient or the client and relating things to either them or other clients they've seen. Never have I gone to a doctor or a therapist and they say, oh, well, my patient before you or a patient in the past, like that is so unprofessional.
My first and last session with BetterHelp was so bad. The therapist I was assigned to told me we only had 10 minutes out of the 40 that I paid for. And then while I was talking, she told me to cut it short because we only had time for popcorn therapy, not real therapy, like her day job. Her exact words. It was my first time seeking therapy after the last time when my mom tried to make me go see a Christian therapist when I was younger. So it was hugely discouraging. And all of my friends who have tried BetterHelp have had bad experiences as well. So BetterHelp, maybe you should spend less on podcast ads and more on paying your therapist.
Amen to that. So this woman, this was her second time trying therapy, and both experiences were now bad. If you ever go to a therapy session that you paid for and they tell you they only have 10 minutes because you're basically like, you are paying less than my other clients, immediately seek another therapist, because that is so, again, unprofessional and unethical. It's just not okay. You want these people to have positive experiences with therapy so that they keep going and getting the help that they need.
Hello, I am here to tell you about how the therapy platform BetterHelp destroyed my mental health. So if they did the same to you, or you're thinking about using them, keep watching. So last year I decided that I was ready to begin therapy again after a super traumatic therapy experience that left me saying I will never do that ever again in my life. But I felt like I was ready. I had come across the BetterHelp platform and I was like, okay, I can do this. You know, it's from my own home. I don't have to go anywhere, which is what my anxiety really roots from. So I was like, okay, let's give it a shot. I was instantly matched with a wonderful therapist. I adored her. She had a very similar story to me, and I had a feeling that she was going to help me a ton. Most of my issues rooted from my miscarriage that I had in 2017 and the abandonment issues that followed that. So keep that in mind, abandonment issues. So we had like 5 months of really great sessions, weekly video sessions for 5 months. Absolutely loved her. I felt like she was really starting to help me a ton. I was just starting to be able to like fully open up and, you know, kind of release what was happening. And then we were supposed to have a video session and I like messaged to confirm and she didn't confirm. So I still showed up to my video session and she wasn't there. And I was like, okay, maybe she went on vacation and forgot to tell me because she had gone on vacation like a few weeks before, which was fine. No, she just never said anything ever again. She missed the next 3 video sessions. Like, she full on ghosted me. No message, no like, hey, this isn't gonna work, or hey, I think you'd be better off seeing someone else. No, nothing. Straight radio silence, which as someone with abandonment issues is not ideal. So I reached out to BetterHelp because I paid for all 3 of those sessions that she missed. They were not helpful. They were like, oh, guys, gotta find someone new. And they connected me with someone else. It was terrible. She only did text sessions, not video or call, which is not what I had signed up for. And then that didn't work, so I connected with somebody else. Same thing, he wanted me to go through all of my traumas, and it felt like just starting from scratch, and it was super traumatic and brought up all of those like terrible things again. He was very cold and insensitive. I really did not like him. I reached out to BetterHelp. They said, just keep trying. Just keep trying. There's somebody out there for you. And there wasn't. And so I did not get refunded for any of the sessions that my therapist missed. I literally checked her Facebook because I was so afraid that something happened to her. Nope, just ghosted me. She was perfectly fine posting, just totally abandoned me, which is so terrible because she knew what that would do to me. Let me know if you want a part 2.
This poor woman. She went through 3 different therapists, and each and every one was not a good experience. The fact that her first therapist ghosted her and her therapist knew she had abandonment issues, now that made it even worse. So she went to get help and just got the complete opposite, but BetterHelp would not give her a refund. It's exhausting to go through that and have to find a therapist over and over and over again. And this is a problem, especially when you get put with a therapist and you think it's going to be a good fit, and then they just make your problem worse.
So as you can see, BetterHelp responded to my video, and they asked me to reach out to them. So I reached out to them, and I thought I was reaching out to a person. I didn't really check the email. Apparently I'm just reaching out to their complaint hotline. So they're like, please wait for 24 hours for a response. So I waited for 24 hours, got a response, and basically they said, that's horrible. Give us more details, please. Also, whoever will corroborate your story with other people and see if this has happened before. My thing is, if you look at the comments in the other video, so many people have had similar experiences. So many people have had similar experiences. So I thought it might help if I show BetterHelp some of the comments that we've had. I got into a fight with one. She made my story about her and went on for 30 minutes telling me her issues. I had a therapist who'd answer her phone during my in-office sessions. So I thought I had an ego problem because I felt more like her therapist than her being mine. Then I have 2 people back to back who are wondering if we had the same therapist, because this is so common. Mine had movers at her house giving them instructions while in our session. And those are just some of the comments in my last story, and it's so frustrating because if you look at some of the other comments, it talks about how BetterHelp treats our privacy, how BetterHelp treats their counselors, how BetterHelp markets themselves. There's a lot of information there that is so frustrating to hear, and it trickles down into how therapists can help because they only have a limited amount of resources as well. If all that information is true, I haven't done a lot of research, so I can't say this is facts or this isn't. But what I can say is it's very frustrating to see so many people reach out and say, I need help. I'm willing to be vulnerable and do the hard stuff and have these conversations, but I need real, genuine, affordable help. And everyone deserves that. Everyone deserves affordable help. And so I just really hope BetterHelp is taking this seriously and acknowledges that it's not just who I was encountering, it's other people as well, and recognize that, yeah, the therapists are doing some crazy stuff, but what are they doing that leads the therapist to act this way? Because I feel like it's very hard to get into therapy unless you want to help people. You know what I mean? So, I don't know, BetterHelp. Let me know what you think. And it'd be really cool if you could help provide genuine, affordable help for people that doesn't keep trauma onto people.
Yes,
you know?
because that's exactly what they're doing right now. They are taking trauma and now adding trauma from therapy onto that. So these people go back inside and not talk about what's really going on. This is a big issue. And the fact that they had that many millions of people last year on their app, how many of them had a bad experience and are now reluctant to go back to therapy that they really, really need? Okay, so now we're going to hear from the therapist side of things.
This is a review of BetterHelp therapist version. So if you're a therapist and you've considered getting on BetterHelp as a therapist, I've been on it for about a month now, about a month. I wanted to kind of give you all a brief overview. The pay structure is interesting. Every 5 hours of work you put into it, they give you a $5 pay raise bump, which is cool. At the same time, I don't know, I think I'm just as valuable the first 5 hours than I am the last 40. And also, they don't really pay you. If anybody no-shows, they don't have like a fee for that, so that's kind of bummer. I guess the pay rate does start at $30 an hour, and then once you do 5 hours for the week, they give you $35 an hour, which is, again, it's okay, but not that great. The good part is, I guess they use all of that subscription money to kind of like publicize and market, which makes it really easy to find clients, so that's kind of cool. But again, honestly, I'm more valuable than $30 an hour, but I also don't really want to work. Like, I already work full-time, so I don't really want a side hustle at $30 an hour, so, I mean, it's cool, it's cute, I like the interface, I like that it's all in one sort of thing, but there's definitely some pieces of it that I'm just like, I don't think you're valuing my time very well, so eventually I'll probably pop off and maybe try to do something on my own, and then I'll find out that marketing was totally worth it, or maybe not, but we'll see. Anyways, if you're interested in BetterHelp or anything that you have any questions about it, I'm happy to answer. I can send you a bonus link, which I think sends me some money, and I think you get money either way. So definitely the sign-on bonus is kind of nice, and then you can kind of decide to take on a couple clients and then dip out and just enjoy that sign-on bonus. Depending on what state you're in, sometimes that sign-on bonus is like $500 as long as you see one client in the first week. And if you use like a link that I can give you, then I think I get $250 either way. But yeah, I just thought I'd share that.
Let's dissect. So this gives a great explanation of why potentially the therapists on this platform are, not all of them, but a lot of them are garbage, allegedly, in my opinion. This is a very low pay scale for somebody who is helping with mental health. In my opinion, mental health should be like the top paid people right now, the top paid profession right now, because it's so needed. So $30 an hour, if you see, so they rate your pay on how many clients you see that week. So of course, if you're a therapist and you're struggling to make ends meet because they're paying you $30 an hour for less than 5 clients, and you're going to be like, oh, if I see 35 or more patients in 1 week, I get $70 an hour. You're going to push for that 35. So that's going to take away from their work quality because they are going to get burnt out. This is a lot. It's a lot of work to be in mental health. You have to really think of these people. They have to go into appointments with patients and hear all of the things that they're struggling with and kind of detach. Like the things that people are struggling with can be so heavy sometimes, and these therapists have to completely wash it away for the day. So they're going to get so burnt out from this, and their quality of therapy is going to diminish so much. So she also, in the caption, she put that you are capped at 45 minutes of pay for a session with a client. You can see clients more than once a week, but they'll only pay you a max of $22.50 per session in those first 5 hours of sessions with the patients that you're seeing more than once a week. So not only do you make more the more you push out, so that's incentive to work more, you are also capped at 45 minutes per patient. So if you do 46 minutes, or say you even go to a full hour with a patient, you are not getting compensated for those last 15 minutes. That was completely your time. And now that's going to leave a bad taste in the therapist's mouth, and they're not going to have the incentive to work hard and give these patients quality therapy that they need. Obviously, the appointment time, you have to respect that therapist's time, but there are ways to get patients off the phone and get them out of appointments, but every now and then they need a little bit longer. And the fact that they're not getting paid for that and you can't adjust that in the therapist side of the app is problematic. She also put in the caption that they pay you for text messages when you're doing therapy. So every 60 words a client writes to you is counted as 1 minute of billable time. And then every 60 words the therapist writes is 2 minutes of billable time. So obviously you're going to want to push out more words, but I just thought that was interesting as well. So this is another therapist, and she's going to talk about something called CareDash. CareDash is a platform that BetterHelp started that gives you a list of all physicians now, but they also give therapists and psychologists all of that information, and they put it on their website without their consent. And you're going to see what this does for a therapist in these little snippets.
And I want to talk to you about why you should not use BetterHelp as a patient.
I'm duetting this to boost this, but please go watch the original video. This person has so much information about what's going on with BetterHelp right now, but if you have ever considered using BetterHelp or heard of it and thought, wow, that's a great option, I'm going to keep it in my back pocket, do not use them. They are scamming therapists and they are hurting clients, and they have been since the day they started. They do not pay therapists a living wage. They require word count limits, and the money, if they go over, comes out of the therapist's pocket. There has been some scandals about whether or not the therapists working for them are truly licensed. If you're looking at BetterHelp as an option because you can't afford therapy in your area, please just contact your local therapist and be upfront and honest with them about what you can afford. Most people have sliding scales and they will work with you. Please, please, please do not use this company. They are hurting the people they are supposed to be helping.
Okay, so she has a part 2.
I wasn't going to make another video about BetterHelp because there are people with far more reach and far more influence than me in the mental health community. But now I'm pissed. And if you've missed the new drama with BetterHelp, because it seems like there's something every day with them, they're always doing something, they most recently have created this website called CareDash, or they're working with this website. I don't know the details, the ins and outs here of how this relationship has been formed. But basically what CareDash is a website where you can find a therapist, except none of us gave our permission to be on this website. So they've made profiles for all of us. And when you click on the profile, so you click on my name, here's my profile, it will tell you if you request an appointment, that I'm not available, as if I somehow have a relationship with them and I'm approving myself on, like I work with this website, which is not true. So then they'll tell you that I'm not available, which is also not true. And then they will recommend to you a BetterHelp therapist, which is so shady and so scammy and takes advantage of so many people. Oh, it's so anger-inducing. But the thing that really put me over the edge was I went to my profile to look at it because I was like, I need to see what is on there about me. I need to see what information they have, because people have been looking at their profiles and the information is wrong. Their specialties are wrong. Their address is wrong. How they take clients or how they take payment is wrong. There's all kinds of wrong information. So I was like, I'm curious. And there's not a lot of information about me initially, but when you scroll down, guess what's on there? My personal cell phone number. I don't know if you're not in the mental health field, I don't know if you understand how incredibly dangerous that is for me, but my personal cell phone number can be used to find my address. You can use it to find out a lot of information about me. And now people who want it can have access and call me incessantly. And then I can't practice good boundaries or have space for my job. So I looked to see what I could do to get my phone number at the very least removed. In the FAQs, it says very explicitly that they do not remove profiles because this information is helpful to the public. And that if you want to change something on your profile, like, for example, if your personal phone number is on there, what you have to do is call them and claim your profile and give them the correct information. I don't want them to have my information. I don't want to claim this. I don't want to be affiliated with them. And now they're doxing me, and I have no options. This is outrageous. I just can't, I don't know what to do about this, but I am livid.
Okay. So now we have to unpack this one. The first thing she mentioned is that, first of all, she didn't give any kind of consent for this information to be on the profile. And that is what I've heard from the other therapist videos that I have looked at while I was researching this. I also have heard a lot that like their specialties will be wrong. In the other one that we're going to watch, you'll see that her specialty was completely wrong. The fact that they gave this counselor's personal cell phone number on a searchable website is absurd. You have to think about what kind of patients she might encounter or see throughout the day. These patients, depending on what types of things that they are dealing with personally or which diagnoses they have, they can potentially threaten her. And like she says, they can find her address and come to her home where she's supposed to be safe. This is scary. And now her phone number is out there. Her cell phone number is out there on the internet, and who knows who has it now, who is going to publish it. There are so many other sketchy websites out there that take your personal information from different websites. And if anybody outside of this gets a hold of her phone number and keeps it on the internet, and future patients or former patients start to realize that they can get this information, it can actually, like in the TikToks, turn into a true crime documentary. And that is terrifying. She also mentioned she does not want to be affiliated with CareDash and BetterHelp. And at first I was like, well, why not just have your information on there and then they can contact you at the correct place? But then I was thinking, I get it. She doesn't want to be affiliated with BetterHelp because of the shady practices they're doing. If somebody pulls up BetterHelp or CareDash and tries to find a therapist and they have a bad experience with BetterHelp, they're automatically going to write off this website as something that they can go to and trust. So I can totally understand that all of these therapists do not want to be affiliated with this website. If you need therapy, I have found the information that is better than CareDash, and you'll want to go to psychologytoday.com. Psychologytoday.com works with the therapist to make sure all of the information is correct. including their office address, their specialty, their contact information. The therapist also has to pay a fee to be on this website. So that just helps maintain the credibility of the therapist that they have on their website. These therapists have to show their credentials and have them listed on the website as well. So that's a much better resource than CareDash or BetterHelp. Now, let's check out this therapist. She is telling us why we should not use BetterHelp in case we haven't decided that we will never use it at this point in the video.
Good morning, Dr. Tay here, and I want to talk to you about why you should not use BetterHelp as a patient. I want to give you a little bit of the context because if you're not in the world of being a therapist, you probably haven't heard about this. So BetterHelp is where you can go online and you can get access to a therapist at a low cost. It sounds like an amazing thing. I will say it's out of pocket and they don't take insurance. Here's the problem though. These tech companies, specifically BetterHelp being one of them, are exploiting therapists. So what BetterHelp is doing right now is they are partnered with this website called CareDash. And CareDash is taking therapist profiles and posting them without permission. I'm actually going to share mine right here. I found this, I did not approve it, and it is completely incorrect. I am a child psychologist. I specialize in the early diagnosis and intervention of autism. I also will do some work with young children with anxiety or emotion dysregulation, but this is not accurate. So then what they're doing is they have these profiles and you go on to CareDash and you request an appointment with the therapist. And you're literally being told that therapist doesn't have availability, so they redirect you to BetterHelp and hook you up with a therapist there. Y'all, you have to realize that therapists are making their living by seeing you as a patient. When tech companies are hijacking patients like this, it's completely unethical. You know what's even worse is BetterHelp isn't even reimbursing the therapists that work for them a comparable and fair living wage. Now, I'm gonna totally recognize we have a mental health crisis in our country. So what that means is it is challenging to find a therapist. And even more so, it can be challenging to find a therapist that's within your budget. So if at all possible, try not to use BetterHelp. You can search on websites like Psychology Today or Therapy Den for providers that are in your state. You can actually filter by insurance as well if you want to use that, or look at different therapist pricing. And if you're a therapist, feel free to drop more resources in my comments. Just make sure that they're not other tech companies like BetterHelp. Hoping we can start to do better. Because as therapists, we deserve better. And listen, as patients, you deserve better too. You should be able to get access to the providers you want without going through some weird system that's completely unethical. And you should be able to have access to a therapist who isn't completely burned out because they are not being paid enough to make ends meet, so they're having a high patient load. Share this if this information was helpful to you.
All right, so she basically summed up everything we talked about in this video. So I just want to give you my closing thoughts on BetterHelp. If you have not decided already, like I said, not to ever use BetterHelp in your life, please make sure you do not fall into the trap. They are not ethical. They will likely give you an aversion to trying therapy or traumatize you. Please call around to see if you can get in somewhere. You can likely see a credible licensed therapist in your area, whether you would rather be on a virtual call or go to the office. Most offer both these days. You can likely see them for less than what BetterHelp is charging. So definitely look into finding a credible source around your area and in your state. If you didn't know about this, make sure you share this video so that as many people as possible can hear about it. I didn't know about this until last week, and I've been hearing BetterHelp ads almost every day for the last few years. So make sure this information gets out. Tell everybody you know. Don't use BetterHelp. And if you like this video, go check out this one, and I'll see you over there.